Okay. So last night I got the chance to catch Blackfish on CNN last night. It is a documentary about the orca whales at SeaWorld and or just basically general orca whales in captivity. But SeaWorld being highlighted because I remember this because I actually uploaded it on my Facebook. I shared this news when I read it before in 2010 about Dawn, I think Branchall is her name. She was a expert trainer, and during a show, a her the killer whale that she had a relationship with decided he was going to eat her. His name was Telecom. Um, at the time, I remember the news saying that it was a mistake on her part or blah, blah, blah. And come to find out with this documentary, it turns out that Tillicum has killed 3 people before. She was the third. Um, and there's actually been over 100 documented acts of aggressions from plenty of orca whales in captivity, especially at SeaWorld, that have been on tape that trainers have, and that's only documented, not undocumented. God knows how much there is. But basically, let's just say SeaWorld has known for a really long time of their whole 39 years, actually since day one, that the whales they had in captivity are actually aggressive and probably don't like being in that pool. And they have been knowingly, which is the argument, I believe they knowingly have been doing it because it's all about the almighty dollar, been putting trainers and their employees in danger knowing that this was something that could happen. So the whole point is that what happened to Don Branchow was something that was within the company's control because they knew that this whale was capable of doing what he did. They also knew that a lot of the whales were capable of doing what they did, but they still put their employees in harm's way. And not to mention that, I always thought that the trainers were experts on orca whales, but comes to find out that they actually pick you for that job based on your personality. I guess if you're good at putting on a show, talking to an audience, maybe a theater major like I was. So then they just put you in there in the pool with the whale and teach you how to train it. So you have people who have no idea how, or maybe just don't have never studied this intricate animal and are getting put in a pool with this hunter, with this. It's called a killer whale for a reason, people. It is an avid hunter in the ocean. It kills shit. Anyway, so um, I basically wanted to talk about it because there was, like I said, a lot of disturbing things that I saw in the film, and it was a lot along the lines of I don't know if you. There's other documentaries that have been let out recently. One particularly is The Cove. The Cove is a really heart-wrenching documentary, not for the faint of heart, but it is bullshit when you watch. It's really heartbreaking, and it's all about, how there's like a huge mass slaughter of dolphins in a cove that turns the water red in Japan for like something like their fins and really dumb shit, like they don't even use the whole dolphin. And actually, dolphins that end up at SeaWorld and other places in captivity, especially Flipper was one, actually come from that situation because they take the babies. Anyway, so back on point, there's another one you can watch. Is another documentary like that is the Project Nim, which is about a chimpanzee that was raised as an experiment in a human family, and about all the bullshit that led to after this experiment. Because all the time we always think that we can just say, or not we, because I'm not part of this crowd, but I've always been fascinated with humanity's humanity, which is kind of really not very human at all, which is that we kind of believe that we own the earth and that we run things because we have better technology to mess with other intelligent life forms on Earth. Like, they don't have tools, and we have the upper hand, and we use it to our advantage. So we like to say, oh, I want a chimpanzee for a pet, so I'm just going to get one. Oh, I'm just going to take it from its mother when it's a baby. I want a whale at SeaWorld, and I'm gonna get this whole idea to put it in a pool and have it as a pet and make it do tricks. Oh yeah, I'm just going to go take a boat out into the ocean and go hunt one down and take it from its mom. I don't care how much she cries. Oh, I'm going to get a dolphin if I want. Or it goes on and on and on. I want a bear in a circus. This is something that that the human race is very guilty of. It's just, which is to me no different than if like an alien race came here to Earth, which is like what we see in horror movies, and decided to rip all the children up from every mother and didn't give us any fucking explanation, didn't care if we cried about it, and just put them on a fucking spaceship and then went away, and that's it. Like, they're gone. That's it. Like, fuck you. That's what it's an equivalent of, because though these animals don't have any idea what's happening when you're taking their young away, and especially when they're complex mammals, that could fuck with them. That is horrible, and it definitely fucks with the child, because they're always like, oh, we're trying to see nature versus nurture. Well, you kind of need to be nurtured by your own species, which is your mother, that you were, whose womb you came out of. So there's really no replacement for that, and I really do believe that mammals are aware of that when it happens. But mammals like killer whales, elephants, dolphins, chimps, all these highly intelligent, emotionally advanced, social, tribal, like, well, they run in pods or tribes or whatever you want to call it, packs. These animals know that they're being taken away from their element, and therefore we have to deal with the after effects of it. Now, telecom is the argument that's presented in the sorry, I'm talking so fast. The argument that is being presented in the documentary is that, is Telecom a murderer because of his captivity, or is he just a bad seed? Speaking of seed, Telecom is also the father of mostly over majority of, I believe, 65% of the, and that's like me guessing, but it was a lot, of whales that are at SeaWorld that have been bred in. He's a breeder whale. So you've got all these other whales who have Telecom seed, which makes sense because, if you have a rabbit pit bull, you're not going to go and breed it with another female and get rabbit little puppies. Like, puppies and cats and things like that are bred out of temperament. Basically, yeah. I suggest that if you haven't seen it, that you give it a watch. It's totally worth it. It's going to definitely bring up some issues that, you're just going to be really angry, and you're probably never going to bring your kid to fucking SeaWorld. You're not going to I want people to be inspired to never fucking give SeaWorld any of their money ever again, because SeaWorld needs to go down and needs to fucking just cut the shit. They need to just shut down and fuck off. Like, it's over, SeaWorld. It's over. You've been painted as a fucking SeaWorld evil empire. That's what you are now. Because what you did was dead fucking wrong. In the beginning of this documentary, they show how they hunted down Telecom. And they basically hunted down Telecom and took him from his mother and his whole pod, which is of like literally like 7 to 8 whales. And it's so heartbreaking when you see them when they net him, and then all the other whales are around the net just screaming and crying. It was horrible. Like, it's like, how could you do that? Like, I would feel like that would be something that would say, okay, I'm done. I'm not even going to try. But like, because they were putting up a protest, and they were clearly emotionally distraught that we were taking one of their own, and that is just horrible. Like, it just breaks your heart. It's just like, makes you have no, it kind of makes, it's just very depressing. Like, you feel like you have no, what do you call it, belief in the human race at all. Like, what have we come to? Why do we, but what have we come to? We've come to capitalism. We've come to about making that money, about selling them Shamu dolls. And at the end of the day, whenever you look at anything, like even the 3 documentaries I named, this one, which is Blackfish, and then you have The Cove, and then you have Project Nim, all 3 of those center around capitalism. They center around, we just want to make some quick money now, and we don't give a fuck what it does to the environment, what it does to nature, what it does to other creatures, and how it affects them. That's really what it is. So, and I'm going to leave on this note. This motherfucker here, he's sleeping. It looks like a tame animal. Yeah, my little fox baby. His name is Sam, and he is a Shiba Inu. A Shiba Inu actually is an ancient dog breed from Japan. They have been around since the BCs, y'all. The BCs. They are directly related from Akitas, which are second in line to the most closely related to wolves. They advise you not to get an Akita if you have small children, but even though you can probably, I've seen Akitas around families with small children, but like, these dogs are really, really hard to train and take care of because they've got a little bit of wild in them. I adopted this dog, by the way. They look really, really fucking cute, but they are a lot of work. They are not a typical dog. They are called the cat dog of the dog world because of that little wild touch. And they take a lot of extra work. Now, this is what I'm going to say about this, because part of the argument is that Tilikum and all the other killer whales are happy in their pool. This is the bullshit that gets to me. My dog, a Shiba Inu, I cannot have unless I am willing to live the lifestyle that goes along with it. Which means I walk this motherfucker every day. I take him to the woods 10 times a year and let him run around. I try and be active because if I'm not, he will tear my house up. He acts crazy. He cries because he is a hunter dog. He was bred to hunt. Right now he's asleep because I do my job. But he was bred to hunt and think and do things. He is not bred like a lot of, maybe, you know, you get some dogs now, other breeds that have been bred along the lines. But this ancient breed that's been around for a long time ain't been bred for that. He's just inbred. That's the only thing he is. But he is bred to be wild out in the woods and to run long distance. That's a hop over branches and logs and shit. And when I don't give him that, he acts crazy and he acts out. And when I do take him to that environment, I feel like you're really in captivity because you live in a city and you don't get a chance to do all this. And, you know, you still have your balls because you're a purebred, because I refuse to snip them because they cost money. But, you know, he, you know, can't go into the dog parks a lot because you know, the city I live in is a little bit bougie sometimes, but I make sure that he gets his exercise and he gets to do what he wants. But it's a lot of fucking work and it's a lifestyle. I have to adjust so much of my life to take care of this dog, and I didn't get a regular dog. I got a Shiba Inu, which is a lot of work. And if you don't believe me, look up Shiba Inus on the internet. You will see red flags. Do not get this dog unless you're willing to take care of it, because it comes along, it's high energy, and in order for it to be happy, you gotta do a lot. Same thing with killer whales. You can't have a killer whale that needs to swim long ranges, that swims around the world and travels the ocean and think that it's going to be okay in a fucking pool, no matter how big you make it. That pool better be the size of North America, SeaWorld. Oh, and, you know, so, no, I don't think that you can have whales in captivity. That is the argument. If you could have a whale in captivity in its own natural environment where it could hear the sounds of the ocean and maybe even a closed cove, that would be more humane. But at the end of the day, is that humane? Because whales aren't meant to stay anywhere. They travel all the time. They travel the ocean. They go from continents to continents. You can't give it that life. Therefore, it's going to go stark crazy. And unlike my Shiba Inu, Shamu, Tilikum, those killer whales of SeaWorld have only been there for 39 years. That business is only 39 years old. My dog is sleeping on my bed being content despite how much he may act out. Because he's been here with us along our side since the fucking BCs. The ancients set this row. The ancients made this happen. We can't play God now. We can't sit there and make a companion out of a killer fucking whale and expect it to be happy when it only started 39 years ago. The last argument, SeaWorld, I watched the debate after the show on CNN, and one of the guys defending SeaWorld said, well, unless, you know, we have been able to bring the killer whales to our own backyard and show children and families and the people this magnificent creature, that they would never get a chance to see it if it was out in the ocean, you know, and we should be thankful for that. I've never been to SeaWorld. I've been to aquariums. I've had plenty of chances to go swim with the dolphins when I go back home to Bermuda, and I don't do it because I don't need to do that. I have the fucking Discovery Channel in this day and age. I can go rent a documentary about killer whales. I can go rent a documentary about dolphins. And I'm satisfied. That fucking Planet Earth shit is the bomb if you got an HD TV. So, no, I hear it. I ain't about that life. So, with that said, I actually have to walk my crazy dog, because I'm going out later tonight. See, I have to walk him. I have to walk him out so he's okay, because he has a certain amount of exercise he has to get every day. But with that, let me know what you think about Blackfish if you did see it. And if you didn't, you need to see it because it's really, really good. And it raises a lot of interesting questions and sparks a lot of good. You will be definitely talking about it, and it's a good discussion to start. Um, with that said, thanks for hearing me rant. Bye, YouTube.